Hello everyone, ladies, gentlemen, and otaku alike. This is Recall Reviews. Recall here again. I recall it for you. Now, this is the final week of our retro anime themed month. It was a blast and I look forward to doing more in the future. With that said, we got in the car with Lupin the Third Dead or Alive, ascended the hill with Project Echo, and now we take the drop with a Wind Named Amnesia. Our movie kicks off with Not Macross stomping through a post-apocalyptic city. You find out that this city is San Francisco in the year 1999. This is where we meet our protagonist, not John Rambo, driving on an empty bridge. Not Macross chases down a group of primitive-minded people thinking that they're enemies, and proceeds to give them a RoboCop-esque warning, and then guns them down. Also, Not Rambo decides to join the party and witnesses this. Then a mysterious voice tells him where to shoot the machine to, well, effectively destroy it. Just because.
Hit the turret. Aim for the turret. That's the nerve center.
Now, I can understand the logic in the bullet maybe disabling it, but what the actual fuck kind of handgun has the power to make a Macross knockoff machine explode with one bullet? After Not Rambo terminates the Macross knockoff, we meet our other main character, a mysterious white-haired woman. You find out her name is Sophie in a scene where Not Rambo and Sophie are talking about their pasts and questioning how each other has their memories. After this, we find out Not Rambo's actual name is Wataru, Japanese for traveler, which is what a boy named Johnny named him. Now, I'm going to save a lot of time and give you the quick version of this backstory, because at least 20 minutes of this hour-and-a-half movie are taken up by this backstory that is just dragged out. So, listen carefully.
Johnny was 13, 3 years younger than me, but Johnny knew all kinds of things that I didn't know. He died. I'm from a little town in the foothills of the Rockies called, I don't remember. Everybody knew everybody else. It must have been a friendly sort of place. The wind blew through our town. When it had passed, everyone, not only in our town, but everyone maybe in the whole world, had forgotten everything. How to fly planes, how to drive, and soon people started to feel hunger. Food became the only necessity, and people fought for it like savages. I ran out of the house. Then I saw it. But for some reason, which I couldn't have explained if I'd wanted to, I knew I had to do something to help that boy. Johnny's was one. He was the subject of the most advanced memory experiment of all. There's a limit to what human minds can retain. But data entered into a computer will remain there forever. Its memory keeps everything, useful or not. Johnny had a computer put into his head to take excess information directly from his brain.
To save on even more time, the rest of this backstory is really just about how Wataru was taught by Johnny, where Johnny basically just downloads memories and thoughts into his head with a bootleg Cerebro. So after a backstory that, as it turns out, takes a little more than half an hour in this hour-and-a-half feature, Sophie decides to tag along with Wataru. Her goal is to get to New York City, so they go to Los Angeles. Wataru and Sophie come across a young woman who's about to be attacked by a group of savages. Wataru is about to help while Sophie's holding him back, talking about moral reasons and why the world is a different place and why he shouldn't, when retired Hagar comes to kick some ass and protect the younger girl. Now, this is something that they tell you later on, but not straightforward, so I'm just getting this out of the way now. Hagar over here is actually this young woman's father. As it turns out, because no one has any memories, they don't know this, but the instincts are there, which is why you see him throughout this segment, why he's so profusely trying to keep her safe in any way possible.
But does their God really exist?
Perhaps. What's important for you to remember is that the men who were chasing her believe it does. So to those men, sacrificing her to appease him is natural.
It's disgusting.
Sacrifices were offered to the gods for thousands of years after man first looked up and recognized unknowable forces ruling him. In terms of his history on Earth, the custom was stopped only the blink of an eye ago. And now that the wind has blown away the old restraints, the old certainties, it's not surprising he's returned to it. And you, are you so certain of your own values that you're prepared to impose them unthinkingly on others?
I'm gonna have to stop you right there. Just because it's been done for thousands of years, never once made it right. And as far as a question of morals go, it's wrong. No matter how you may try and say that just because the world is changed and that the rules are different, in this case the fact that everyone is reverted back to the mind of a caveman, it still doesn't make it right. So, fuck you, Wataru's right. After a day of character building and bonding with Sue and Hagar, who you find out the name is actually Little John, but just for argument's sake, let's stick with the retired Hagar because it's much better. You find out that Sue willingly ran back to the village to be sacrificed to save everyone else just because. Now, Wataru isn't too happy about this, so of course he's gonna go back and try and save the day. It doesn't exactly go according to plan. Yeah, basically, once again, he one-shotted a giant machine, and not only pinpoint shot the person piloting it right between the eyes from that distance, he again blew up a giant robot with one bullet. After that, they're on the road again, and not Macross, who turns out is a self-repairing automated robot, is tracking them down and sends them off of a cliff after Wataru once again blows its shit to smithereens. Now, they're falling to their deaths only to find out that, hey, there's something a little odd about Sophie. Wataru, thinking they're both gonna die, calls out to her. And then he wakes up perfectly fine in a hospital room in an advanced city. This part of the movie is one of the least noteworthy segments, although it does have a good idea in the sense that the computer running the city programmed all the memories that were backed up from everyone in the city of who died into two people, and they switch roles throughout the segment. With that said, these two characters aren't that interested in the case of Dr. Simpson over here and his, partner, mayor, girlfriend, wife, whatever, daughter, I don't know. It's never really clearly explained, but Lisa. So after that little detour, Wataru and Sophie end up in Las Vegas, and this is where Sophie reveals quite a bit about herself.
Wataru, there's something I should tell you, assuming you haven't guessed already.
Yeah?
We caused the wind and let it blow over the earth. It was no accident. It was done deliberately. Yes. I represent the power of a distant planet. We have kept watch on your world since life first appeared on it. The first creatures that crawled out of the water, the dinosaurs that ruled for so many centuries, and finally the coming of man. Till very recently, you were not thought to be a danger to us, but when you broke free of the Earth's gravity, we started to be afraid of your leader's aggressiveness.
That they'd attack?
We weren't sure, but we couldn't take the risk.
So let me try to wrap my head around this. You're an alien. Cool. I'm fine with that. Your people have been watching the Earth develop. Cool. I'm okay with that. So, because humanity became advanced enough to travel into space, which, according to this was relatively recently, you automatically assume that we had the military power and capabilities of wiping out an entire race of people that has the capability of wiping an entire planet's memories, reverting them back to the Stone Age, essentially, with wind. And because we can travel into space, we're a military threat to you? Bullshit. And you weren't even sure. Fuck you.
There was a second reason beside the need to defend ourselves, and that was done for your own good. Men have always said what they desire most is happiness, and yet their actions seem to lead in the opposite way. By removing the baggage of their memories, we gave them the chance to make a new beginning.
Now I'm just gonna say fuck you twice over, because now you're pulling shit out of your ass to make it seem like you were trying to help. So, all the shit that's happened previously in this movie, all the death, all the chaos, all the destruction, all the misery, was intended for our own happiness. Fuck you! And so we start the third act after that infuriating bit of movie. Wataru is reflecting on everything that's gone on between him and Sophie in this segment, and decides to completely overlook the fact that her people, and possibly her herself, ruined humanity for the worst reasons. This leads into somehow the most epically underwhelming final battle between Murderbot, not Macross, and not Rambo Wataru, in which he assumingly dies, but doesn't. This then in turn leads into possibly one of the most out of place and doesn't quite fit love scenes between Wataru and Sophie, of who more or less have been romance building since the beginning of the movie. With that said, Sophie explains how Wataru changed her opinion on humanity by being with him. Coupled with the somewhat uncomfortable imagery in the back, I'm just gonna let some of this scene explain for itself.
How come you can speak?
Remember San Francisco? And Los Angeles? The Eternal City. Until someday, somewhere, you will find someone to share your task and carry it on when you've gone.
Regardless, then we have the final infuriating thing about this movie.
Will you return our memories?
I don't know. Is it better for man to have memories or not? Is there more pain in them or less?
So what you're telling me is you're likely liable to not give humanity their memories back, despite all the pain, suffering, chaos, and agony that you yourself have firsthand witnessed. That is a direct cause because of your actions in taking our memories away. Because you think that people will somehow still be happier the way things are. So, things are most likely going to stay exactly the same in any sequel or after story that thankfully never happened. No, this is not an unwatchable piece of shit, though the piece of shit it is. A Wind Named Amnesia you can sit down and comfortably watch if you turn your mind off a little. With that said, it will stay on my shelf as is. Its music is virtually non-existent, the characters are boring, but it has a certain charm to it. Possibly its art style, because I'm very much a fan of the art style. That being said, before I intro the next video, check out The Dissidents. They're an awesome local band that has me editing their videos, so check them out. They write some great original songs as well as do some cool covers of songs. With that said, our next project is Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works the movie. Tune in next time.